Live from the studios of NBC 12 and ABC 25, this is First Coast News at 11.
Good evening, I'm Heather Crawford. First tonight at 11, we've all been there before. You're driving down the road, you see blue lights behind you, you get pulled over, and then you anxiously wait to learn your fate. Well, one man didn't just get a ticket. He claims that a Florida deputy actually stole money from him. And he says body camera video proves it. First Coast News' Honey Rodriguez spoke to that man tonight. She joins us now live in the studio. Pretty incredible story, Honey.
That's right, Heather. Body cameras have been a hot topic across the country, as well as here on the First Coast, as many police departments weigh in on whether or not they should get them. A sheriff's office not too far down the road recently got body cameras for its deputies. Well, tonight, what this body camera captured was enough to question the arresting deputy's actions. And today, he resigned.
I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that, the officer of the law stole money from me.
We're not identifying the alleged victim because he doesn't want to draw attention to himself. He only wants to put the spotlight on what he says happened to him when Volusia County Deputy John Brayman pulled him over.
Left my house and I rolled a stop sign, like a lot of people do in my neighborhood, and got pulled over.
The man admits he had one drink before he left his house. When he refused to do the breathalyzer test, he was arrested and booked. At the jail, Deputy Brayman checked his belongings.
Pulled out my wallet and he said, "I have $13 in cash." And I said, No, I had $213 in cash.
He says he didn't immediately suspect it was the deputy.
I wasn't sure if he had taken it or it was lost or what had happened.
Were you afraid that people wouldn't believe you?
Who's going to believe a guy getting arrested for a DUI? And so it was very frustrating.
It wasn't until his attorney requested body camera video to help fight his DUI case that the truth surfaced.
Stealing is stealing.
Despite what the video shows, this man still believes most law enforcement officers are honest.
I haven't lost my faith or trust in law enforcement. There's still plenty of good people out there, and unfortunately he made a bad decision, multiple bad decisions.
As for that alleged victim, his DUI charge was dismissed. Deputy Brayman was placed on administrative leave Wednesday and resigned today. According to FDLE, there are more people who have come forward accusing the officer of stealing their money. FDLE and the Volusia County Sheriff's Office are in the process of conducting an investigation. The deputy has not yet been charged with a crime. Heather.
Honey Rodriguez tonight, thank you. Well, tonight there are a lot of questions about a disturbance at a San Jose apartment complex that had neighbors on edge all afternoon. After 8 hours and a ton of police resources surrounding this apartment building today, it ended with JSO saying the suspect was nowhere to be found. First Coast News' Julia Janae has a look at what happened. And Julia, we know that the suspect tonight is still on the loose.
That's right. It's a story that we've been telling you about all afternoon, that there was heavy police presence here at this apartment complex at the intersection of Old Kings Road and Toledo Road. And what we learned is that it was something of a standoff situation here at the apartment complex that started around 1 and didn't end until 8 p.m. tonight. Now, after 7 hours here at this complex, police said that they discovered that the suspect they were waiting on was not inside. This was a domestic violence call that they received around 1, and they arrived at the complex and encountered a witness who was a female who they say they believe was in a relationship with the man being looked for having a handgun and using that handgun to assault the woman, who of course they have not named as a victim. They're also at this time not naming the suspect. What they did learn after those many hours of being here in the complex is that the suspect had already gotten away.
We were told by 2 eyewitnesses that he had run into the residence and had locked himself in there. An arrest warrant has been issued for his arrest, and a be on the lookout will be issued citywide for the suspect.
Now, JSO says they are searching in the Jacksonville area for this suspect, and they do consider him armed and dangerous. For now, reporting in San Jose, Julia Janae, First Coast News.
We have new information tonight about a Jacksonville murder suspect who police say tried to break out of jail last week. Police tell us that Jacorian McCrae carved out a hole inside of a cell and tied bed sheets together. And get this, officers say that another inmate's mother tipped them off. McCrae is behind bars accused of putting a hit out on Joe Britton, a UNF employee who was set to testify against him in a burglary trial. A Clay County deputy is recovering tonight after his patrol car was T-boned by a semi-truck. The crash happened on Blanding Boulevard at Madison Avenue in Orange Park. It shut down several lanes of traffic earlier today. Officials say the deputy was responding to a call and he had his sirens and lights on at the time. The officer suffered only minor injuries. No word yet on what caused the crash. Charges, though, are expected to be filed against the truck driver. Breaking news tonight, President Donald Trump has fired Acting Attorney General Sally Yates. This comes shortly after she announced she would not defend his controversial immigration order. He released a statement calling Yates weak on borders and very weak on illegal immigration. He is now naming Dana Boente, an attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia, to serve in her place. And Mr. Trump's executive order bans citizens of 7 Muslim-majority countries from entering the U.S., suspends the admission of all refugees for 120 days, and it indefinitely suspends the Syrian refugee program. NBC's Justice correspondent Pete Williams has the latest now on new legal challenges.
Lawyers in cities near 4 big airports rushed to federal courts over the weekend, scoring early victories. Judges said anyone with a valid visa could not be sent back. Today, the Department of Homeland Security said everyone detained over the weekend has been admitted and that travelers barred by the order are now being stopped overseas when they try to board U.S.-bound flights. So the court fights shift to a broader challenge that the president is illegally discriminating against people based on where they come from, says the ACLU's David Cole.
It's treating people who are similarly situated, who have gone through all the processes, and then singling some out on arbitrary and discriminatory grounds and allowing others in.
And more suits are coming from a Muslim American group just filed today.
Our country has issued an edict that it prefers one religion over another.
And from Washington State, home to big tech companies, the governor says it's ripping families apart and hurting the state.
We're a job creator in the state of Washington. I have focused intensely on this, and I will not stand silent while a president damages our economy.
But some legal experts say stopping the policy may be tough because the courts are reluctant to second-guess presidents when it comes to national security and controlling the borders.
I happen to think this is a terrible mistake, but how I feel about it, or more importantly, how a federal judge feels about it, it's not the issue. The issue is whether the president can do it. And historically, the answer has been yes.
Jacksonville Mayor Lenny Curry has responded to President Trump's travel ban. He says in part there are terrorists in other countries who want to kill us and have leveraged a weak vetting system to do so. We promised in the aftermath of 9/11 that we would never forget. It seems like some critics may have forgotten. Now, it's important to note that none of the countries connected to the 9/11 attacks are on that list. Also, no U.S. terror attacks since then have been committed by refugees from any of those 7 countries. Developing tonight closer to home, members of the Catholic Church are asking to spare the life of a man accused of killing a beloved St. Augustine priest. Last April, authorities say Stephen Murray shot and killed Father Rene Robert, then led investigators to Robert's body in rural Georgia. But fellow priests say death is not the answer.
An eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth leaves all of us blind and toothless.
There is no need to kill the person, even if he deserved that.
They're hoping that a declaration of life statement will be honored by the county prosecutor. The declaration, signed by Robert himself, states that the father would never want someone accused of killing him condemned to death. Jacksonville firefighters made a startling discovery overnight while they were responding to a fire inside of a dumpster. They found a body inside of that dumpster when they were putting out the flames. This happened on the east side of town. Police say that the victim is unidentifiable. Detectives are now looking at surveillance video, trying to figure out exactly what happened. The suspect in the Florida airport shooting spree has pleaded today not guilty. Esteban Santiago told a judge that he understood each of the charges in the 22-count federal indictment against him. The 26-year-old is accused of opening fire last month inside the baggage claim area at the airport in Fort Lauderdale. 5 people were killed, 6 others were injured. If convicted, Santiago could face the death penalty. Well, some long-awaited news for a Jacksonville woman. Marissa Alexander is finally free. You may remember she is the woman sentenced to 20 years in prison for firing what she said was a warning shot at her estranged husband, who she said was abusive. Alexander's home detention ended last week. Her case made national headlines after she took a plea deal for 3 charges of aggravated assault with a weapon. She claims she fired a gun at her estranged husband in self-defense. Some dreaded news tonight for those of you who love the Jacksonville Pier. It looks like you'll have to wait at least 10 months or more before that pier is back to normal. In October, the city paid a contractor $46,000 to inspect the damage. Councilman Bill Gulliford says that the pier damage is more than expected. We wanted to see the report, but we were told it's exempt from a public records request due to the Homeland Security Act. And while work on the Jax Pier appears to be taking a while, workers are close to finishing repairs at Atlantic Beach. Since Hurricane Matthew, 16 of 19 crossover catwalks have been fixed. The estimated price tag is $25,000. Now that cost could rise, but FEMA is expected to cover the rest. Still to come tonight, a drastic change for the Boy Scouts of America. The controversial decision just made tonight that is sure to spark quite a debate. Plus, could you pass a U.S. citizenship test? Several states are now requiring that in order for students to graduate high school.
Frost without actual temperatures at 32? Actually, they will, but not officially. We'll talk about it and take you beyond the frost in just a few minutes.
Some big news tonight. The Boy Scouts of America sparking yet another controversy. The organization will now allow transgender children who identify as boys to enroll in its boys-only programs. The organization says the decision is based on states and communities changing how gender is identified, or is defined rather. Just months ago, a transgender child in New Jersey was asked to leave his scout troop after leaders found out he was transgender. 2 lawmakers in Alabama want to make it required for high school seniors to pass the U.S. citizenship test before graduating. Alabama's not the only state. 13 states have recently passed similar legislation, and Georgia is now considering it. Supporters say it's a shame so many students graduate with a lack of basic government knowledge.
We are working through our education system with students who will be have a better understanding of their government that they live, that they may want to participate in, hopefully the rest of their lives.
So students would only need to get a 60 on the exam, and they could take the test several times. So what do you think? You think you know enough about the U.S. to pass the citizenship test? Well, there's a new survey by a public affairs company. It tested 2,000 people. It found 84% of people passed the test. Only a third of them knew what Benjamin Franklin was famous for, and only 2/3 of them knew who the current Speaker of the House is. So you want to test out your knowledge? We're making it easy for you. Just go to firstcoastnews.com. We have a link to a citizenship test. New information tonight about why a small plane made an emergency landing on I-95. This was near Vero Beach. The pilot of the plane says he ran out of fuel. The plane ended up blocking 2 southbound lanes during morning rush hour. Crews loaded that plane onto a tow truck. Troopers say things definitely could have ended a lot worse.
You have to be very fortunate when you do land a plane on an interstate that there's no vehicles around to run into, and there was no injuries, no property damage, so very fortunate.
The pilot was the only one on board and was not hurt. The NTSB will now conduct an investigation. Well, the countdown is on until Super Bowl Sunday, and both the Patriots and the Falcons have now arrived in Houston. And in a very, very generous move, team owner Arthur Blank paid to bring along every single member of the organization. That's 269 employees. The cheapest tickets to the Super Bowl were selling for more than $3,600. Okay, so let's do some math. If you had to pay for all those tickets, had to bring along 269 employees, that would cost at least $988,000. That is a lot of money. Well, time is running out to see the Nights of Lights in St. Augustine. The event ends tomorrow. Millions of those beautiful white lights glisten to help bring in the holiday spirit. If you don't catch them by tomorrow night, you'll have to wait until November to see them. Well, it's chilly outside tonight, but we could always be dealing with something like this. So you're looking at video. This is a Greyhound bus. It got stuck in all of that snow in Cleveland. One of its tires was spinning to try and get it out. It caught fire, and that happened. Good news, everyone on board was able to safely evacuate. The bad news, though, well, they had to wait outside for a new bus to come pick them up, and all of that snow. So, I mean, what's worse? You're stuck in the snow, and then your bus catches fire. But good news, they are all okay.
Well, that's good to hear.
Yeah.
Suddenly that dream of white Christmas is now the nightmare of that. Tomorrow morning, a lot of us, now, right. We just use the apps. What is the temperature? And I think for at least some of us tomorrow morning, if you're moving out and about 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning, you may see frost, which means 32 degrees, right?
Right.
And yet the app may say 37, 38, right. 39. It's above freezing. How can that be? Well, let's take a look. First of all, at the ingredients for frost. And we do have these. Clear skies, yep. Calm conditions for most of us, yep. And then what about the dew point? Gosh, we talk so much about the dew point, and it's why I call it the decider, not just for, well, cool air, but hot air, how it feels, the whole bit. But for now, let's talk about the cold morning. The dew point near 32 degrees. Now, that's significant. Under this current situation, if it's too far below 32 degrees, that means it's too dry for dew to form, and you can't have frost if you don't first have the dew. But if it's above 32 degrees, well, then you just get dew. That's the dew point. And nothing in the way of frost. So what's going on here? Well, remember, the official actual temperature, I should say the official temperature, is taken at the 6-foot level. But because cold air, or I should say warm air, lifts, cold air near surfaces, like maybe at 5 feet or 4 feet or even lower, may actually be at 32 degrees, even though officially it's not at 32 degrees. Thus, although you have widespread frost when it's near 32, you can even have patchy frost at these temperatures at 38 to 42 degrees. Make any sense? Will all become much less confusing by about 9, because everywhere by 9 tomorrow morning with bright sun and light winds, temperatures will be above freezing. In fact, most of us tomorrow by noon will be near 60, and by the afternoon, whether we're talking about Duval or northwest of the Okefenokee or up toward St. Simons, over toward the Swanee, down toward Palatka and Willatka, temperatures will be up to near 70 degrees by the afternoon, and then the rebound will be with us for a while because this area of high pressure providing us with the frosty start is not going to move much, but the flow around it, instead of from the polar regions, will come out of the west and southwest, and that means that the afternoon highs will continue to warm gently so for the rest of the week. Morning lows will become seasonable, more like the 40s. So at the beach tomorrow, even the beaches will have a cold start, but an afternoon high of 72 degrees. Surf temperature did drop to 60, but that will rise. So putting it all together for you, notice after tomorrow morning, seasonable morning lows in the 40s probably through the weekend. Afternoon highs will be rising in toward the 70s. Incidentally, notice the winds. Today, certainly gusty. We saw winds today gusting to about 25, 30 miles per hour. Much gentler breezes as well Tuesday through Friday. Incidentally, the strong westerly winds actually dropped our tide levels below normal. Those water levels will begin to come back up as well. Speaking of water, what about enough moisture in the air to produce precipitation? I don't think so. Even this weekend with a weak front on the way, maybe some isolated showers could be a better chance on Monday. And don't forget, if this is the end of January, that must mean then Groundhog Day is just around the corner. We'll be updating you on whether or not the hog sees the shadow as we go through the week.
Thank you, Tim. UNF's Dallas Morey having a senior season to remember, the school records he set, and how this guy's managed to remain so humble. But first, we are just 6 days away from Super Bowl 51, and the Patriots have arrived in Houston. What they're saying about Sunday's showdown with the Falcons. Folks, we're pumping up the volume. Next in sports.
Wednesday, February 1st is National Signing Day, and we'll be spread across our First Coast covering Signing Day ceremony. Then that night at 7 on ABC 25, join us for our live hour-long Signing Day celebration at University Christian.
From the Farrah and Farrah Sports Desk, it's First Coast Sports.
Hello, everybody. The AFC champions, New England Patriots, touched down in Houston this afternoon ahead of Sunday's Super Bowl showdown with the NFC champion Atlanta Falcons. This will be the 9th Super Bowl appearance for New England quarterback for New England, 7 with Tom Brady as the quarterback. Before the Patriots left for Houston this afternoon, you saw they had a big crowd there in Boston. Thousands filled the streets as Bill Belichick and Brady took to the stage to get those in attendance hyped for the Super Bowl.
This team's worked extremely hard. We're excited about the opportunity to go down to Houston. We know we're playing the best team. This will be our toughest game. This is the best team we've played. and we'll have to be at our best, and that's what we're going to strive to do.
Rest up, hydrate, and get ready for Sunday, because it'll be a hell of a game.
Wednesday, college fans across the country will celebrate their team's latest crop of promising recruits. But 2 days before National Signing Day, former Reigns quarterback Marvin Zanders decided he wants a fresh start. Zanders announced on his Twitter page he's transferring from Missouri to Virginia. Zanders is scheduled to graduate in May and will be eligible in 2017. Virginia lists 2 other scholarship QBs on their roster, but they are expected to add another on Wednesday. UNF's Dallas Moore decided to return for his senior season, and the decision has paid big dividends. Moore is breaking school record after school record. Alyssa Lane went one-on-one with him to try and get his secret to his sharp shooting success.
Don't leave Dallas Moore open outside the three-point line.
And my teammates tell me to shoot it with a lot of confidence, so that's what I do.
Or he might just make you regret it. Well, not might. He will. This season, he passed 2,000 career points, the first player in UNF history to do it. But he says what he's more proud of was hitting 500 assists. That's because at the end of the day, that's what Dallas wants to do. Assist his teammates and coaches in every way he can.
Well, just always the next right thing, no matter if you mess up. Because you can't really sit there and harp on it, because they can be coming back on defense and getting the easy bucket, and we don't need that. So we just pride ourselves on the next right thing.
But the sharp shooting doesn't come from luck. It comes from going one-on-one for hours with Coach Driscoll before practice, on the bus, and at dinner.
I'm a competitive dude. I want to win at anything, video games, regardless, on and off the court.
He's competitive.
But the guys think I'm really funny, and I just try to bring a lot of joy to the team just to have fun. It's all about having fun.
But humble and willing to do whatever it takes to get his team where they want to be this season. At UNF, Alyssa Lang, First Coast.
Thank you, Alyssa. Duke hosting Notre Dame. Grayson Allen didn't make any bad headlines tonight, but he was stroking the three from downtown, finished with 17 points. Fast forward to the second half, Blue Devils put the game away. Matt Jones! Duke will go on to beat the Fighting Irish 84-74. Hashtag Team Sideline. A big shout out to the Mandarin soccer team. That is, congrats. They are the 2017 District 1 5A champs. The Mustangs always getting it done.